did for my project was that, lift it up again, I put on a leap motion. Does anybody know what leap motion is? Okay, good. The leap motion is attached right in front of the H1B, and then it actually defines your space pan in 3D space. And then you could actually do this, and then move the character forward. So if I were to swipe left, my body would be floating or walking to the left side. Yes. Difficult stuff, really. I don't know why people want to be so enthusiastic in VR. No. It will get better. It gets better in the future. So we have the freehand. We have the wired experience. We have so many other different experiences. You could combine it with Kinect. You could combine it with a gamepad controller or the basic motion controllers like the 6sense M system or something. Yes. So try imagine that if you're holding all this and then you're having this, how can you have a motorcycle ride like that? Like you'd be forgetting what you're already holding and you're trying to think that you're moving really fast. So it's, all of these things are coming and being processed into your brain. So it's very, very difficult. So then it comes the objective familiarity. So in VR, everything has to be correct in terms of scale and proportion. So you have to be making sure that whatever you are creating, the experience is relevant to the user or the person who's making it, the person who's playing it. So if you're making a game about being a child, then the objects need to be much, much bigger than the first-person controller or the first-person character. You always have to be looking up. But if your story says that I'm a child, but then you are actually taller than everything else in the room, that's not relevant, right? So everything has to follow scale and proportion. This is one of the big things that comes into designing environment or architecture, and especially in VR, which is proportion. There's also the part of familiarity in being human. So you have avatars or you have empathic narration. You don't want a user to go into an experience and thinking, hey, can you go all the way to that corner, just climb up here. So that's the one thing that you could embed into an emphatic model. What happens with VR also is that sharpness, in the sense of our eye and peripheral vision, I can see you, sharpness, but I think my friend is over there, somewhere over there, so I'm not really able to focus. So that's a lot of things that you should consider when you are migrating content into VR. There's also the part where I think Daniel mentioned just now that frame rates are problematic. You need to be considering that when you are rendering for, I think in cinematic stuff, I don't think this comes into matter because when you are shooting something, it will always stay 24 frames per second or 60 frames per second. But if you're rendering stuff, graphical capability comes into importance because the eye can accept 60 hertz or 60 frames per second or 75.
Dah rasa FYP boleh aku dah buat. Oh yang department apa? Best lah. Memang atau benda
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Level Up KL, first level up of 2015. Thank you all for coming. So much energy, so much work. We've been on a 4-month break, and we are starting the year with a bang, literally, with virtual reality. Here, I would like to acknowledge our speakers. They are actually VR enthusiasts, developers, and just general VR guys. Tonight's event is especially organized with Daniel Walters. Please give a round of applause. Pizzas brought to you by the community, paid for by the community, and brought to you by Z. Sedway, long-time web camper, level up, sound guy technician. Round of applause for him as well. And we don't have live stream today, unfortunately, because our regular guy from Media Saya, Malaysia Saya, still on Chinese New Year holiday, but Moses is here to record the event for us. Put it on YouTube. Some of the best and top guys to do live streaming or videoing for your events. So if you need any coverage, chat with him. Quick. Wow, I see a lot of new faces. How many of you are first time here for Level Up? Damn, son. Round of applause for you guys. Thanks for coming. So we usually do live streams and we usually record the talks and put on YouTube. That's why most of you guys are new. All the regulars are at home waiting for the YouTube links to go up. Or they're going to come join us later where we usually go for drinks across the road. So after the talks and y'all will get a chance to play around with the Oculus demos if the queues are not too long. After that, we'll just go across the road, grab a few drinks, chat about VR, chat about technology, and just hang out together if you guys don't have a curfew or got no work tomorrow. Do me a favor, just look around you, see a random stranger, give them a fist bump. Woo! Yeah, there you go. Because you guys are awesome like that, and that is an icebreaker.
It's not icebreaker.
Okay, so tonight we've got 6 speakers. Before that, so that's me. That's my email. That's my Twitter. That's my Facebook. Blah blah blah. If you got any feedback, comments, you can reach out to me in any of those things. Quick announcement-y thing stuff. So next month. Oh wait, before that, because most of you are new, right? So Level Up KL is one of the longest running technical meetups that is entirely supported and helped and organized by the community, basically you guys, if you guys are in the technical field, technology related stuff. It's only possible because of their contribution. and then, bouncing ideas with me and stuff, like, just coming up to me, hey, why don't you do a level up on this theme and that theme? So it's not just me, it's a tech community. Many of them fairly faceless, but we put them on stage and then hopefully you recognize them. So, quick announcement, next month we're thinking of doing a level up on drones. So, if that's something that you're excited about and keen on, or you might know somebody who's really into drones, shoot me an email and we'll put something together similar to like how we cobbled together tonight's events, which I hope will be mind-blowing for you guys. Cool? Alright. Quick house rules. We don't do Q&A like most events, like blah, 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 and then Q&A, and then one person will just have a one-on-one conversation with the speakers, which is dumb, because this is the social generation. So if you do have any questions, go to the Facebook event page. All of you know about the Facebook event page, or even the webcam group? Yes? Okay. Post your questions there, or you can hunt down any of the individual speakers on the Facebook event page and message them directly. I think what you said about the VR unit SDK is wrong. Right? Our mics are a little bit sensitive these days, so if you're not using internet or whatever, try to switch your phones to airplane mode. But I was assured that the blue mic is okay. Just in case, if the random cutoffs, then maybe we'll just make you guys airplane mode. We are a very Chin-Chai event. Those of you who are Malaysian, you know what Chin-Chai means, right? We basically, we're a community-driven event and stuff. We are actually, these speakers are not famous speakers, or maybe they are and they're not letting me know, but most of the time they're not famous speakers. We are just basically talking to them and say, why don't you come up to the stage and share what's been keeping you up at night and what have you been working on, and just basically sharing with you what they've been working on. So just in case maybe whatever they're sharing with you is just not something you're into, that's fine, right? Maybe you found your soulmate just now when you fist bump, got some magic, got some electricity, you want to reconnect with them or whatever, you want to chat, that's totally fine. Just kind of ninja a little bit outside there to the lobby area. Don't do it in the intimate romantic cave area, because that acts like a bit of an amplifier, so whatever you check up, romantic and hear one. Yeah. So if you do want to do that, you can kind of slither out, have a chat, and then come back in when the next speaker comes on. That's fine, Chin-Chan. We are quite relaxed. Yeah. The talks will be 18 minutes, pulse check style. What does that mean? Is that I'm going to have, and speakers do take note, I'm going to have a little alarm here, 18 minutes. Basically, when the 18-minute comes along, you do an old-fashioned telephone, right? So in case you hear speakers, in case you hear that, it's not your phone ringing. It's telling you 18 minutes are up. But because it's pulse check, it basically means that the speaker needs to check with you. In case they run longer than that, they'll ask you for feedback whether you want them to continue or not. Right? So they'll just say, hey, my time is up, but I got 3 more slides for you, or I would like to elaborate something more for you. Do you want me to continue or not? Right? So if you like the speaker, you like the thing and stuff, you want the person to continue, you basically nod your head, do some positive gestures. If you don't want him to continue, right, you don't make eye contact. If you don't get it right, then you can throw something at him. Then the guy, then speakers will know, okay, thank you very much. Okay? So 18-minute pulse check style. It's like tag, but more brutal. Okay? So we have got Google Cardboards. Where are the Google Cardboards? People have taken them home. Oh, there's one over there. We'll try to get them back on the table over there, right? So you guys can try that out. That's like Oculus cheap. In case you you can't be bothered to wait for the Oculus Rift, because all of you are going to be queuing up for that. You can try out the cheaper, not cheaper, but it is the cheaper version. Google Cardboard. You can put your smartphone there. If you have Android smartphones, yes. Have you guys played Google Cardboard? So if you haven't played Google Cardboard, try it out. It's kind of cool. It's got NFC. How many of you have Android phones with NFC? How many of you don't know what that is? You don't know whether your phone got NFC? Yeah. How many of you use NFC? How many of you never use NFC? Yeah, now's your chance to try it out. That's kind of cool. Basically, you put your phone there, it knows you download this app, installs adware and virus and stuff. Check it out. So we've got 3 Oculus Rifts for you to mess around with and try it out. There's 2 over there. And we've got one more behind the tree in the office area. So you basically queue up and then try it out. Word of caution though, please don't throw up. Alright, please don't vomit in the office.
Yeah.
If you don't want you feel that, just take it off. You're not ready for VR, I'm sorry. Try not to get yourself injured when you go like, woo! Alright, but just in case, just want to check, right, audience, how many of you know like CPR? Or any like emergency, in case somebody like, and then bang their head. And are there any doctors in the okay, we got one doctor. He's trying to pop a few. So we'll do the demos later. So after the talks, 6 talks, you're free to mingle for a little while. But let's not mingle too long because we do want to get a few beers. If you don't drink beer, I'm sure they have not alcoholic beverages. And network and buy your own drinks at the bar later. Sounds cool? Cool. Round of applause for our speakers one more time. So before that, I just want to share a little bit background story for tonight's level up. Was one of the more technically challenging ones because we have to set up all this equipment and things and so on. Normally, we try to keep it simple. If you guys like this, like what you're seeing, do join the VR Malaysia Facebook group or talk to Daniel over there. Right? If the interest is strong, we might actually organize something like a VR weekend or something where we'll get. Actually, there was a lot of people who volunteered to bring more fancier hardware and stuff. This guy here, this was very expensive equipment. I don't bring. You wait for a weekend. Basically, it's to do with how to track motion and stuff. Basic input devices. The eyes is actually semi-easier. It's the actual, how to get you immersed and do the input, which will be more interesting. Some of our speakers will be talking a little bit about that. Without further ado, let's get started. Our first speaker is Daniel Walters.
Hey everyone.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing? How many people have actually tried any sort of VR device? How many people have not? So hands up if you have tried. Alright. And how many people came along so you could actually have your first VR experience today? Ah, cool. Okay. Cherry popped? Yeah. Alright, cool. So we're going to... thank you very much. We are going to have demoing at the end of the event, so that's pretty cool. Be careful with the equipment because it is pretty easy to faceplant with this stuff. Search VR faceplant on YouTube. It's hysterical. Very cool. Well, let's start off with who I am. So I'm Daniel Walters, who's on the slide. So I came over to Malaysia about 5 years ago, working for a company called Experian out in San Jaya. Experian, one of the largest company to credit bureaus around the globe in pretty much every market. So why is a guy who is from that sort of background playing with VR? Well, I've been in the IT industry about 20 years, and I started out actually in video games. And after about 3 years in that area, transitioned into internet and big data. So some of you may recognize me from various big data events that we have here in KL. Other of you might recognize me from the film and cinema groups, or the Geek Easy group, which is a whiskey drinking group. But today we'll be talking about VR, so let's get on with it. Alright, so the theme of what I want to talk about is, obviously VR's turned up in the news a lot. You've been noticing it all over Facebook and all that sort of stuff. But the question you may be asking yourselves is, why now? Why all the enthusiasm? Alright. Now, those of you who are old enough will remember the first time VR sort of really raised its head in the public psyche. In films like The Lawnmower Man, and games like Pterodactyl Nightmare and stuff like that. Who actually got to try out VR at the shopping malls? I can see Damien's got his hand up. Anyone else? Anyone old enough to? All right. Well, anyone who did, it was a pretty bizarre experience. You can see the graphics quality was not super great. You can see that the method of playing was pretty similar. Head-mounted displays, a sort of unit that you'd stand in, and also a hand input controller. Let's actually just see some of this.
Two warriors will fight it out in a head-to-head battle over 3 minutes.
There we go.
The object is to inflict as many hits on your opponent as possible.
Cool. So that was some footage off a British game show, and so they had a whole bunch of contestants using the Pterodactyl Nightmare game, and they were having a bit of a competition. But it was extremely hard for them to play. They were all wobbly, and they're shooting bows and arrows at each other and really couldn't hit because all the hardware was so inaccurate. But VR didn't completely die. It wasn't ready for consumer uptake, so it didn't really catch on. But within an educational context and also sort of commercial and industrial context, companies and educational institutions have still been using VR all the way through, from the 90s through to today. For the research institutions, including some institutions here in Malaysia, they would set up cave environments, so not the head-mounted displays that you might be familiar with, although it can work with that, but actual rooms that you go in where every wall was projecting different images. I've got a shot of that in a couple of slides. So, also in terms of industrial and medical equipment manufacturers, really they were using VR in any place where they couldn't put human beings. So, for instance, if you wanted to simulate the operation within, like a power plant in a really dangerous zone, you could use VR equipment to actually simulate some of the common operating procedures in there. Alright, so this is what a cave environment looks like. So as you can see, if you're sitting in the center, then you'll actually get that sort of immersive sensation. I think it's also got some eyewear there to actually sort of distort the vision enough. So, you can read that. CAVE stands for Cave Automatic Virtual Environment. Consists of all those elements. Alright, so part of why now is the fact that there's a lot of investment from companies such as Oculus, Sony, Samsung, Microsoft recently announced the HoloLens. So literally billions of dollars of investment are going into it at this time. But there's a deeper reason as to why, what the cause of that is. So one is that consumer video cards are actually finally offering the frame rates necessary to be able to render into two separate screens at the same time to allow the sort of photorealistic environments, so better than what we could see from the 90s version. The other thing that's been driving it is the rise of mobile devices. So that's been bringing down the cost of ultra-small CPUs and GPUs. So for instance, the Oculus Rift, which is probably the most well-known head-mounted display that's on the market at the moment, it essentially has a Samsung Note 3 that they pulled apart and then reassembled to actually create the screen and some of the capabilities on the unit. So it really took for the heavy competition in the mobile space to actually help drive that. So, in terms of units such as the Oculus Rift, the Fove, the HoloLens, well, not the HoloLens because it's not really out there in terms of dev unit, but for Fove and those other ones that have dev units, it's about the consumer price point. So, for instance, I spent probably about 450 USD all up to get my Oculus shipped over here. So, it's on the expensive side, but I am a developer, so not the most expensive investment. Whereas if you looked at the commercial devices going back 5 years, you may have easily spent sort of 60,000, 80,000 or higher. The other thing is the improvement of the technology is helping reduce the amount of side effects. So a very common reaction to older units, and still even some of the units today, is people get feeling like seasickness, nausea, all those sorts of things. And really, I think that's what killed it back in the 90s was really most of the time you could have a short experience, and after that you felt really, really, really ill. So essentially, with the better hardware, you can have higher frame rates, and then the sync between your body movements and the speed of updates on the visual display is synced together. All right. So it's VR is also appearing in popular culture. So you can see that it's actually having that impact. So here's an example of an episode of South Park during the middle of last year. There's actually also a South Park VR experience you can download off Oculus Share as well. So if you always wanted to actually be inside the cartoon, then you can totally experience that now. Anyone who actually really wanted to do that? Okay. What are the features of a modern VR experience? Well, one is the field of view. So to actually get the feeling of immersion, you really need your entire view. Sorry, I'm going to have to watch my hand gestures. You really need a really wide field of view. So it actually feels like just what your eyes would see. Whereas if you're looking at a monitor or something like that, it's always a smaller field of view than what your eyes are. So a lot of the devices at the moment are approaching 100 degrees of vision. Some are a little bit better, some are a little bit worse. But that certainly goes a long way to improving that sort of perception of immersion. The other thing is the use of stereoscopic images. So that's basically creating two slightly different images for each eye. I'll show some examples in a couple of slides. So that you basically trigger your mind's depth perception cues. And so putting it on is more than just putting a screen very close to your face. You'll actually get that sort of sense of something that can reach out and touch. The other thing, on recent mobile phones, the screens are very low persistence. What that means is the light from the screen, as the screen changes, doesn't hang around. So what that translates to is less blur, less judder. Judder is probably a term that I'll let other people define, but basically, you know it when you see it. It's basically when the sync between what you're seeing is sort of bouncing around, so it doesn't feel like a very smooth experience. For anyone who experiences it in real life, then I'm sorry. The other thing is positional tracking. So anyone who's seen the development kit 2 from Oculus will see that it's coming with a separate camera that you sort of put in front of you on the screen. So that basically is tracking your total head movement, including the orientation of the actual head display. So the previous unit captured your sort of left-right movement, but not much else, but didn't really track you in 3D space. It still uses the head-mounted tracker, but in combination with the camera, it can now track, if you're on a left angle, or if you move your head, if you drop your knees, and that sort of stuff. So that obviously gives a far more realistic experience as well. And really, it's all about trying to match how your body works. And then finally, the fast refresh rate. So you really need the screen to be updating as fast as possible so that it doesn't feel like, a 25 frame a second sort of animation or slower than that. You really need it to feel like it's actually natural in front of you. Okay, so we're looking at a stereoscopic image here. This is one that has not been passed through the lenses. So in a head-mounted unit, one of the most expensive and key parts of it is actually the optical lens. The reason why the image is distorted is because it's going to go through that lens and through to your eye. And what that helps achieve is the 100 degrees of field of view, as well as some of enhancement to the depth perception. So there is this one of the actual lenses itself. So you can see it's quite a chunky lens, although only marginally thicker than the one in my left eye. And there it is in the actual unit. Cool. So you can also see that there, in the top image, you can see that the colors are slightly split as well. So again, that, by the time it goes through the lens and is processed by your eye, those colors are joined back together. So you don't get that blurring thing when you see it. It actually helps the realism. And here's an example of what it might look like with full persistence versus low persistence, which is what the new screens like the Note 4 and the S5 and the various latest Nexus, etc. Okay, so I'm wearing an Oculus t-shirt. I mentioned Oculus about 50 times already. They're probably at the start of the avalanche in terms of they've had $2 billion of investment from Facebook back in March 2014. They've pulled some really big names, John Carmack from ID Software, Michael Brush as well, long-time expert in the field of computer graphics. So it all started as a very small project just for something community related. I think that Palmer Luckey was doing. Then it went on to a Kickstarter, and then I think they pulled the Kickstarter and took the investment from Facebook. So it started on very humble beginnings and got very big very quickly. Time.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Simulated Heaven, and I'm having a go at World of Diving on the DK2, which we...
I forgot that guy's got a really annoying voice. So that was just a quick demo. You can see again that's the animated version of the stereoscopic images. The reason why it always looks like that on YouTube is it's used to take a copy of the image that the unit is producing. You can get software which will go and flatten it out again, and that works not too bad. Really, what got me interested in VR was actually the range of experiences. So like gaming is a really obvious area, but it's the non-gaming experiences that actually interest me a lot more. A lot of simulations, puzzle games, basically anything where you're doing something that you couldn't really easily do in real life. So for instance, horror games and things like that. Hard to simulate actual axe murderers coming after you. Well, I mean, why would you want to do that? Surgery simulation, again, like not really a game that you can play with your friends in real life, but one that you can do. But other cool things like virtual desktops. So maybe you could get set it up so that people could work more efficiently if they were using some sort of AR, which is augmented reality, or VR. Let me just define augmented reality. Anyone who doesn't know what augmented reality is? Everyone knows? Cool. Excellent. I'll move on. We'll post it on the Facebook group afterwards. Yeah, so anyone who's using that, maybe they can work more efficiently if they're able to easily grab more different screens and work using the various peripherals. Also, some things that extend of other media are pretty interesting. So, who watched Interstellar and enjoyed it? Yeah, so like who would actually, how cool would it be to actually go in and sit in those ships and really experience all of that? It certainly would be, I think it'd be cool. This one was interesting. The Marriott Hotel set up this box where basically you get in there and then put an Oculus Rift on you, and it was sort of like a transport concept where basically it would transport you onto like a beach, like a tropical location or something like that. So yeah, even the marketers are getting into it. Anyone play this?
Top of the morning to you ladies, my name is Jacksepticeye and welcome to Surgeon Simulator 2013. Buttons, where are buttons? There we go. I've got the buttons, Bob. Oh, the buttons are fine. Okay. Oh, we are all good. If we can't even lift this off, how are we going to do the surgery? Don't worry, I am a surgeon. I have absolute precision with my hands. I can't get a freaking green tar off your chest. Also, I do apologize if I'm talking into my chip.
Alright, because I am wearing the Oculus t-shirt, I felt like I should probably mention that there are other units out there. So there's the Duraviz, the LVLUPKL, the Avagun, the Sulan. Some of them look pretty cool actually. I like this one on the right, where it's your headphones already built in, and then the actual head-mounted display is just a flick down. So this one, I haven't been able to get my hands on it yet, but looks pretty cool. I just want to talk a little bit about peripherals. I think some of the other speakers are going to talk a little bit more depth about the peripherals, but I think it's one thing that's making VR pretty interesting these days is all the other things that can go on with it. Cool. Is that the 18-minute? Cool. Do you guys want me to go on for just a couple more minutes?
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Tim. Alright, so in terms of peripherals, you got your hand peripherals, like the stem, and I've brought some along, so come grab me afterwards and I can show you what they look like. Pretty exciting are the haptic feedback. I don't know how well these are going to work, but these ones are basically going to try and restrict your fingers when you're grabbing around something. So if you're grabbing a bottle, it'll slow you down. So it could work, man. I'm excited by it. Even just a picture of it. Where's Lindemann? You're going to love this. So in terms of taking footage of real environments, you've got these crazy cameras which basically shoot in every single direction. So they've been, I think this is the Joint VR, they've been deploying these at concerts and things like that. So there's a famous one of Paul McCartney's concerts. And so you can there watch Paul McCartney, or you can also look at the guy and the girl that's standing left or right of you. Yeah. Just to show you that it's all kicked off in a big way. I think this is the LA VR regular event. So this is the one from like November last year, and there was already this many exhibitors. So it's off in a big way in LA. Alright, I think this is my last topic, which is really just the areas for equipment. When you guys check demos later, I think you'll see, wow, it's a cool experience, but you'll also probably see some areas and go, wow, it could be cooler if blah, blah, blah. So some of those are, at the moment, really, there are quite good quality mobile VR things like the cardboard. The mobile VR experiences are just not as good as the desktop ones. They are super easy to set up. On the flip side, the desktop ones are much higher quality, but they take freaking for ages to go and set it up and get it all working. And if you want to change to the next demo, that's a headache as well. You still get a screen door effect. What we mean by that is sort of looking like through paper, but like a fly screen door. Software compatibility is a real pain. So in terms of whether does it work PC or Mac, does it work with a particular graphics card, what is the method for getting the thing working, like to work in direct mode, to use it as an extended monitor. It's completely different for every demo. And that makes it a real headache. There's lots of wires. I always open up a box and then it'll look confused. Wuhan's like, haven't you had this for like 4 months now? Don't you know what all these codes are? I'm like, I know, but there's so many codes. But it is improving. So the fact that it's out there, there's dev units, there's a massive development community around it. It means
media industries. So basically, I'm not the first coordinator, I'm the third one. The first one would be the one that we started up during those those years. Actually, we started up this program in 2004. Okay, and the first batch graduates on 2006. So actually, there are at that time only 6 of the students. So, all right. So when we mine is actually one of the measuring. So we have to really sell our program. So we have other 5 other programs. So basically, when we explain to the student, basically these are the things that you will involve in VR. So games or whatever, all those people's things. Okay. Okay. What basically? I think the first one we test with the Oculus 3. Okay. And then okay, this is the latest project. Previous, just last semesters, the forklift simulators and the live concert experience using Oculus Rift, which is done by June or Aliza. Okay, so basically those are the projects that the students did. Okay, so the next one is Iwaisan. So basically this project is funded by Mosties. So we decide to create a VR or a real interactive walkthrough instead of the normal fly-through animations. So we decide to create an interactive walkthrough of 19 selected buildings which are still there or in demolition. So these are we have selected a few buildings, and the content would be in the portals. But currently the portal is down right now. So okay. So I don't know. You can search for your science in Google, and then you can have try. So basically, we select 19 buildings, and we repeat back using data that we get from other agencies such as CAMS. Those are the parties that have drawings, correct drawings, technical drawing that we review back in 3D. Right. So these are the US that we reviewed. This is the house in this Milan. Details of some of the elements in the mosque, in the bar, right? And some of the pillars is not all wood building. We also have palace. This is total buildings in Banting. So this is one of the that we do. All right. So with that, thank you.
Awesome. So we've got students who are already in virtual reality at MU since what, 7 years ago? 7 years ago. So you heard from the coordinator for MMU for the VR program. Now I'll give you two hands together for Jude, researcher.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is J. Multiple O's and G. one of the future graduates is in the virtual reality. So there's a lot of things that people would have to know about me, which is I like digital things, traditional to anything, and I'm very keen on picking up news. So I like visual effects. When I learned photography, I studied photography, and I studied publishing before, and now I'm totally into virtual environments. So a little bit about me. I want to talk a little bit about designing stuff for VR, and so I'm going to show you a little bit of the IP that I worked on in MMU. Let's take my key.
You never really know my Apple product.
So I make a copy of graphics when I did for my project. So this was it in a frame composition, and it did migrate into. Okay. I would put it maybe. So I did programming, so did visual effects along with virtual simulation. So this is what mine looks like in the frame composition, and then we migrated it to Oculus Rift. Now this is gonna try to explain step by step or the different considerations that come in. So it's my welcome to live, Paul. Yeah, I'll go back to the very okay. And today, Ms. Robinson talked a little bit. I took one of the films that was recently a big transition to the VR market, which was Wild. If you know Rizzo, and if you watch some of the Sundance entries, this is one of the movies that made it into a 3-minute VR experience. So the movie has a 3-minute version, which is 360 experience that you could try on Zoom Geo VR. Do you have it? Yeah, but the UVR is the version of the mounted display that you slot in for this for. Yeah. So that is one of the experiences that the featured sent. So now that we know that some of these different fields are migrating into VR, we're gonna be quite flooded with a lot of new content in the future. So there are two things about how VR is represented. There is intimacy and familiarity. So what is intimate to you? Is it a person being right next to you, close in proximity? Is it a person that you can relate to empathically, emotionally? This is what VR could do. So this is the quote that was about what the experience. Just roughly, almost be present. For us, it was all about the intimacy. So in that frame, you see over there is piece on the left side, and then over the right of the frame, which is off her in 360. So imagine that it's here and you're in the middle, so you're in your whole body, and then you can see two different characters behaving one another. This is in a 360 experience, so you could actually see a cinematic 24 FPS film being run over the car. So, what I said just now is that intimacy comes with space perception. You think that one is much more personal to you if they are just about the same level as you. As you sit down here and then to interact with them. That we call an intimate presentation, right? So, when we take a look into, based on the research, the optimum experience always lasts between 15 to 20 minutes. So, no experience should be more than that.
Okay, so in reality, I was just sitting on the 23th floor with some fucking mechanical gizmo in my head that was giving me some inputs, but it was so immersive to my brain. And to my body, that I felt the physical sensations of nausea, of motion sickness,
while I was on the app in less than 15 seconds. And then that's when I realized this is something fucking groundbreaking. This is something groundbreaking, and which is not a surprise. Have you seen this? Raise your hand if you've seen the YouTube videos of the Oculus Rift pranks. Okay, only a few people. Okay, less than 5% of people. So I will explain very briefly. There are people who do pranks, and I've requested in your office right now. You just put in your head. You want to go out of space. You want to go travel and see Earth and Mars and all of the other planets and solar system. And you want to go. Did you move it properly? Did you actually follow the proper movements? Or, you know, actually towards the end, you gotta go in a little bit more. You didn't quite do it right. So it becomes a coach for learning any physical motion in space. Right now, skateboxing. To any physical exercise, lap dancing, anything going on. We put on ankles instead of wrists, so on. Right? So that is what I see as a future of virtual reality. And this, I mean, it's a lot of technical details. I will go into detail only if you're a developer and you've already developed something using sensors or accelerometers or gyroscopes, because I mean, so basically this is, if you want to develop any application in virtual reality, a humongous portion of your work is going to involve learning how to use accelerometers and learning how to use gyroscopes. Basically, like, these are the actual like things that you put in your hand or your wrist, so that, you know, when you move like this, your software can actually detect, oh, you know, you actually move like 90 degrees this way or so on. And it's quite more complicated than it sounds. So, if you are a developer and you understand the technical insights involved in doing this, I'm happy to share with you, because I went through a whole bunch of shit just to be able to, for example, when you move your wrist from here to here, to get within a pretty decent accuracy of how much you actually move, which is, even if you go on stackoverflow.com, which is like considered the, you know, forum for programmers. Even like the lead developer at Google says, oh, you know, forget about it. Don't try it, it's too hard, it's impossible. No, I'm going to show you. Okay, for example, I don't know how many people in the audience are actually into sensors, but for this specific case, if you use dead reckoning plus averaging multiple reading plus establishing a recent position plus double integrating the accelerometer data, you can actually get the actual distance of the space. For 99% of the audience, that was nonsense. But anyway, if you're involved in the technical aspects of working with sensors or accelerometers or gyroscopes, I will happily contribute, give best practices, tell you, hey, this is going to come up, you know, basically help you out. So, summarize. Morpheus in the Matrix said, what is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can hear, what you can smell, taste, and feel, real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. And this, you know, even when the Matrix came out in 1999, I guess something around that, it was, you know, it was like two-faced, oh, okay, science fiction, blah, blah, blah. But now, for Oculus virtual reality, you basically have the permission and the ability to plug in this hardware that goes directly into someone's eyes, and therefore, it completely messes with their perception of reality. As you can sense by the reaction that people have when they go on roller coaster apps, that I personally had when I went on some of the virtual reality apps, and probably if it's your first time experiencing today, like actually the most common problem with virtual reality right now is virtual reality nausea. And actually, so I'll give you a little bit of insight, right? So why does virtual reality nausea exist? AKA why do you feel like vomiting after the first time wearing the Oculus Rift, right? And actually, it's extremely fascinating. It is reverse motion sickness, right? So motion sickness happens when you're inside of a car. For example, this is the most common case. You're inside a car and visually your eyes are telling you, oh, you're not moving. You're just inside a stationary car. But there are actually sensors in your body, specifically behind your ear and other places that are telling you, no, man, you're actually accelerating through space. You're actually moving. You're not staying still. And so the body gets this conflicting information like, okay. So your eyes are telling you you're staying still, but then your other senses are telling you, no, you're actually moving in space. The result is you should feel this nauseous, strange anxiety feeling. So what actually happens with the Oculus Rift is the reverse of it. What happens when you're wearing the Oculus Rift is visually, for example, when you're on the roller coaster, like I was in the first slide, right? I'm sitting in my chair in the office, I have Oculus Rift on my head. And so, like, visually, my brain is telling me, yeah, you're going through the roller coaster, yeah. You know, looking around, there's air around you, okay, you know, it's great. But the other sensors on my body are telling me, hold on a second, you're not actually in a roller coaster, you're staying fucking still, you're not moving at all. And so the brain is basically saying like, hold on, what the fuck's going on? Why are some of my sensors telling me that I'm staying still, but visually I'm getting input of you're moving in a roller coaster? Hence the result of nausea, which is the most common problem in virtual reality now, which I don't know how Oculus Rift is going to solve it, but I will gladly contribute to how we're going to solve it. Anyway, so virtual reality has evolved to a point where it is so immersive, it is so visceral that you actually get physical sensations from the world that it is simulating, which is unprecedented. Like, could you imagine? I mean, there's a difference between you're seeing a picture of you like being in the park versus, oh, you're actually in a park and you're in a roller coaster. Sick. It is a completely different immersive experience. And with virtual reality, you have the ability and the power to send people to outer space using a virtual chair. You have the power to help people experience skydiving and actually have fun while doing it. You have the power of allowing people to experience dinosaurs, or why not put them in the middle of a Paul McCartney concert. Whatever your imagination is, you have the ability to do that. And that is why virtual reality, I'm telling you, it's so exciting. I think perhaps even more exciting than the speakers realize. I mean, they're saying before, like, imagine you had the ability to stand in the audience before someone was presenting about some features in technology, before the invention of the telephone, before the invention of the text machine, before the invention of Twitter. Imagine you had the privilege of, like, Mark Zuckerberg was standing right here, and he was saying, you know, in 5 years I'm going to create this service called Facebook, and you know, and it's so tempting to say, great dreams, okay, whatever. But that, like, there are so many overwhelming forces going for virtual reality right now that that's become reality. So what I invite you to do is, I brought along my personal Google Cardboard, my personal Oculus Rift. Try virtual reality for yourself, experience what it's like, and then you will see how immersive it is. Thank you.
Jonathan Yongho, VR enthusiast. In case you didn't realize, he's excited. About VR. And, you know, for the record, I actually I don't get motion sickness nor reverse motion sickness. I guess I'm built for VR. So, too bad for the rest of you guys. Alright, we're winding down to the second last speaker for this evening. Have you guys been learning new things? It's okay? Yeah. Alright? No? Not excited about VR? You just guys don't want to strap on the Oculus Rift and just, you know, pop off already? You know? Alright, give it up for our next speaker for this evening. is the cyborg dude right there. He's come from the future. Lecturer, then. You're gonna open June.
Alien.
Hello.
Illuminati.
Yeah, you're right. I thought you said, yeah, no problem speaking. It's loud. So as you can see, actually, I'm also from LVLUPKL. So I think it's the third time from LVLUPKL.
Oh, cowboy.
What do you want to change? How do you... We don't use it. Okay, this is I present the cardboard SDK for Android a few months ago. So actually this one is just to make it not so technical because that one a lot of codes on. So this one we will talk about more on the input methods. So I think you can see my name is Jun. So I'm a GDG KL core manager, which is a Google developer group. So as you can see, I'm a big fan of Google. That's why you see me in all sorts of Google events, so including Android and also that's why you see me here talking about cardboard. Okay, so when cardboard released, I think after 1 week I already go and buy the Domino Pizza, the ultra large one, because that one can build you a cardboard. Okay, so if you want to build, actually it's quite easy. The only thing you need to get is the lens. Okay. Which is actually not so feasible because the lens is a bit expensive. You might as well get cardboard directly. China sell all the product actually so cheap. Okay, so now next. Are you so small now? Okay, so so cardboard SDK is the SDK provided by Google, and actually they say, hey, you can start develop for cardboard. So is it? That's the only way. Hello. Why is it so small? Okay, then it doesn't matter, you don't need to read also. So the cardboard actually provides us a few things. First, actually, you have to insert the device amplifier to sense the motion, and also have a lot of sensors. Actually, later we got time, you can have a look. There are a lot of metal strip at the back, which actually really read for EMG signal. Okay, what can you do? There are a few built-in hand gesture you already can easily detect. Quite good, like double tap, spread your finger, wave right, wave left, and also make a fade. Make a what? This okay? So, all this built-in gesture, the detection very good. But no one stop you from building your own customs. So for example, you want to build a Spider-Man game, you can do this also. Okay? I tested it before, actually it's okay. So once you, but this one you have to train. This one no need to train. It's quite accurate. The custom one, let's say you want to do a Spider-Man game, you have to train, you have to program and all that. Okay? Now programming slide again. Okay? So the first thing is actually how to connect to it. To connect to it, right, actually there are two ways. One way is actually when you like standard connect to whatever device like your help tracker and all that. You start a screen, they give you okay, click and then connect, right? It doesn't really work for cardboard. You don't want the user to open the cardboard, pick up the device, scan, connect and so on. So I like this one actually, they have this method called attach to adjacent major. So what you do is actually once you have read the cardboard light, you actually once start the app, you just put it near to the phone. Right, which is okay lah. You can do it here also lah. Then you will connect. Very nice. Once connect right, then you can start to listen to event lah. So you actually ask him to listen to you create an abstract device listener, and the method we actually interested is on post. On post, right, you can see the argument inside. The third one is the post. What post? Actually, the post actually like the name, wave in, wave out, spread. So you can detect that and then you can do your event. Okay? The good thing is actually, let's say you stay at one post, it's not a repeat callback. You have to change. So once you have changed event, you come back. So actually you can keep on detecting all this. So slightly better than the magnetic switch and the audio jack, because now this one at least got 4 or 5. You put in custom one, you have more lah. The only problem is actually people buying the armband, they go through the tutorial. That's the only 5 they learn lah. So the rest, right, you have to create your own training screen lah, ask them to learn and all that, which also doesn't make sense again for cardboard. Okay, because you have to click a lot. Okay, so usually I will just advise if you do for cardboard, just make them do this 4 lah. 5 lah actually, but even the first one also don't use us. Because it's there are other things to do it, like actually trigger something and so on, so you use the 4. So for example, actually, like let's say you create a VR cinema, then you can go to next movie, previous movie, okay, play and pause like that. Okay? You see if I break. Tell me actually I'm moving my hand too much. Okay? So the next one will be a lot of people mentioned earlier, which is the leap motion. Okay? I start notice this because of this Kickstarter project. So they said actually once you it's very not, the input is not good like the magnetic, so actually they want to add one, which is the one you see like leap motion controller. But once you add this one, right, means your 2 hand has to be on air. So because of that, right, Google doesn't ask us how to hold it and then have 2 hands on air, right? So actually they say, never mind, we built a cat for you to hold it. Okay, the cat is inside the reward so you can get it also lah. Of course, then you see some China just use something simple, event a lot cheaper lah. And then, of course, the reason why Google doesn't want to do that is actually, once you put it on the head, right, your motion will be faster if you hold it with your hand. So it creates more motion sickness problem. Reverse motion sickness problem. Okay? So because of that, right, the Google, the guideline said, please don't put the head mount. But since we have to use our 2 hands for leap motion, never mind, we just don't rotate your head too much. Okay, that's the advice. Really, the problem with our phone is actually those doesn't have what NVIDIA it doesn't render that fast. You really will have motion sickness. Okay, so how do they connect the leap motion to the phone? Because all of them show we connect to PC and Mac. You actually can connect through USB ports. You just need to get on OTG cable, such as this one, plug into your phone. And now it's in alpha, private alpha. I'm not supposed to say so. But since they put it on the website, so actually everyone also can read lah. But because of this no code lah, okay, so I'm not supposed to give so lah. But the good thing is actually everyone can apply. They granted to everyone. Every people that actually they say apply, you get. So you can try lah. You go look for the link to apply for the leap motion controller for Android. So you actually have to buy the GoCoder and buy an Nexus 5. Only Nexus 5 fully supported. They say actually there are 2 processors supported. The one in Nexus 5 and the one in the K1. NVIDIA Shield tablet. But I don't have that, so I'm not sure lah. So you can try that also lah. Okay, so the programming is actually, I'm not sure because I didn't read it. Okay, since it's supposed to be in private. So of course you see this is on my phone, Nexus 5. It has the same thing as on the one you see just now, the hand. So actually this is exactly as you mentioned just now. Okay, so you can sense the movement of the hand and also whether you are picking the flower or not. You can try this out, but do remember actually I got pro-con or not. The battery run down very fast because you are providing power from the phone to the leap motion controller. And then 3D rendering itself is already draining the battery. If I play this app right for half an hour, the battery will almost gone. Okay? So the last one is actually the more interesting one, which is the okay, can I?
My experience in VR using the Google GoCoder. Now you know how it works. But my first experience with VR, with this Google Cardboard, was a bit painful. If you ask how it was, I can say, well, I didn't jump into the website to download the Unity integration SDK, and then I tried to make my own Unity software for Google Cardboard. And this Google Cardboard has a very, let's say, sophisticated and easy to use at the same time SDK that you can use. But I just jumped into the development for this and tried to make something that is somehow mimic stereo vision. So what I did, I just thought that if we have two eyes and we have different stereoscopic view of everything, then in Unity also you can create your own sets of cameras. So what I created is to create a simple game object. I just put two cameras inside and try to add, let's say, because in Unity you can create a camera that only take one half of the screen or any part of the screen that you want. So I created two cameras and split the screen, and what happened at the end, I just added a simple script that get the distance between these two cameras from me.